Hello YouTubers, it is Natalie from Wild Within Reach, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. As you can maybe hear, there's a little bit of traffic right behind me. If you look over here, there's lots of cars. There's even some construction around. So you might be wondering, what in the world am I doing out here with all this construction and all this loud noise around me? Well, behind me is actually some prairie dogs. And we live in Colorado, and Colorado is one of about 9 states that actually have these amazing mammals. So we're going to learn about prairie dogs today. So stay tuned, and we will be back in a minute. So you guys can see there's a little prairie dog right there on top of his hole. And if you hear them, you might hear a lot of trucks behind me too, but they are chirping at each other. Now, prairie dogs live in about 9 states here in the United States of America, and they're actually a keystone species. Keystone species are super important to the ecosystem. A long time ago, this area was actually a prairie, and there used to be bison and coyotes and even some wolves and deer and elk, and we get a little bit of the deer, and we have coyotes still here and foxes, and we still have these amazing prairie dogs. So what makes prairie dogs so special? Well, a couple of things. For one, they are mammals, which means that they have hair, just like you and me. Now, they also, like I said, are a keystone species. That means that a lot of other animals and plants depend on these little critters in the ecosystem. Without prairie dogs, we wouldn't have things like black-footed ferrets. Coyotes wouldn't live in this area. There's also rattlesnakes that use their dens, and even owls. It's amazing. So let's take a closer look at their den. So this little prairie dog is calling out to his friends and warning them that there's a predator, which is me. Now, of course, I'm not going to hurt this little guy, but he doesn't know that. So he's calling out and he's warning his other family and friends. As we get closer, watch what happens. Oh, he went down in his little hole. Let's take a closer look at that. So here's his hole, and it goes down quite a bit. And there's all kinds of tunnels down there. Now, don't worry, he's safe down there. And I'm going to be sure not to stick anything down in his home, because you wouldn't like it if a prairie dog stuck stuff in your room and blocked your doorway. So when we're walking around here, we can also look and see what's around on the ground. There's going to be things like prairie dog scat. Do you guys see any scat there? There's a little bit right there. There. There could also even be some prairie dog bones from coyotes in the area. Now, as you see, these animals are really adaptable. We have buildings right next to us. We have all kinds of cars and trucks going by. And it doesn't really look like this is actually a very good home for them. However, these guys have been living here for quite some time, and they're pretty comfortable with it. Now, it's early winter now, even though it's really sunny and warm here. And in the wintertime, it does look pretty barren. It means that there's not really a whole lot of green grass and plants. But in the springtime, you'll see all of this area turn green, and these little prairie dogs are going to help keep the grass low and spread seeds around, so that way the prairie and this grass can keep growing and be healthy. Thank you for joining us for Wild About Prairie Dogs today. I hope you enjoyed learning a lot about these keystone species and why they're so important to the ecosystem. Please subscribe to our channel and like our video below. Stay wild, everybody!